So, my wife and I are up there in the senior division, but been doing it a long time and just enjoy doing it. I don't do it to be competitive with anyone, just try to extend my lifetime as long as I can do it. Another challenge is people said, you can't lift heavy weight. You can't do what you do at your age. So just to disprove they're wrong, I continue doing it. I'll continue doing it till I can't do it anymore.
Well, sir, I
But
gotta respect you, guys. 69, almost 70. I'm 51, and you probably in better shape than I am. I should be embarrassed myself. I should be. I met a gentleman a while back, Mr. Greg Larson, when I went to Tampa. Hey, a friend of mine, hang out. This guy, gentleman, 65 years old. He's a IFBB pro. He does men's classic and men's physique. I was talking with him. I thought he was my age, and he told me he was 65. I said, I should be ashamed of myself because that's the thing is, it takes a lot of dedication, hard work to do just basically not just be a bodybuilder, but just be somebody getting into fitness. So
absolutely.
anyway, yeah. Anyway, Maria, so what took you out of bodybuilding? What happened and why you wasn't, as active before after the 80s?
Oh, well, basically, I did that when I was in high school and all that. So then when I graduated, excuse me, um, I had to go on with life, get a job, and regular life takes its toll. And so I just lived normal and didn't really. I just did it as just to stay in shape, and I didn't really think about competing. I still worked out, but I didn't compete or anything. So I've been working out since the '80s, but I didn't really pick it back up until I did get into modeling for a little bit, and then I picked it back up because I wanted to get more in shape for modeling, and then that sort of just I got rid of that because that wasn't moralistically where I wanted to go, and then I took up more of the bodybuilding and got real serious and did really well. I won lots of competitions in 2017, 18, 19, mostly in physique and figure. But I have recently decided, as my comeback, since it's been 5 or 6 years, to drop the heels and get into a little bit more of the bigger, you know, the bodybuilding division.
Well, congratulations.
She's
That's
a
big.
little large for the physique, I believe.
Yeah.
So we have talked about it and discussed it,
I mean,
and
figure.
figure. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, figure. And her body size, her muscle mass now, I think it kind of gets her out of that category, more into physique and bodybuilding. So
Well, congratulations. Here's things when you look at the figure now, some of those girls are as big as women in physique, even some women in bodybuilding. It's just how the sport has evolved over time. As you have at one point, it's again there's a handful of divisions. Now it's up to 7 divisions. Like you got to count for women's bodybuilding, which is the architect, physique, which is kind of a spin-off of it, figure, fitness, bikini, or wellness. And another division, I'm not a big fan of it. It's called, excuse me, fit model. I feel it's a throwback division, but the fact is, my mindset is I understand it's trying to maybe get more attention to competitive bodybuilding, especially for women. But again, like anything, after a while, it's going to evolve and look like the division, like women's bodybuilding now and women's physique now. Then also, maybe she says she did a little modeling. She told me some pictures here. This is what I like because she's with my man, the Riddler. I like that car. It's really cool. I mean, and also because she is with a top contender, the current Miss Olympia, in women's physique, Natalia Coelho. I mean, and that is I'm not a big fan of Natalia, but I really respect what she's done over the past few years. Well, when did you meet her? What was that experience like with the two of you?
Um, well, that was a posing clinic, the first one I'd ever gone to, and she was the first actual pro that I met. And I think what impressed me the most about her was that when I seen photos of her prior to meeting her, she appeared back then my mindset was different. She appeared to be very large. And I just thought, oh well, that's a little more larger than I would want to be. Now I want to be large, but then I was thinking, oh, it's a little bit big. I met her in person, and as you can see in the photo, she's like small, but her muscles were so defined, and she just it was just beautiful. I just couldn't believe how she could look so big but yet so small at the same time. and she was nice, very helpful, and I was just really impressed. So she was my first um, pro that I kind of like was like looking up to.
Yeah, I mean, she's been on my channel a few times. I make comments, and she has been on some of my lives. I would love to do an interview with her. I think with some women, when you see them in person, like when I went to my first Vitamin show back in 2022, and it was some of the ladies who I've seen on social media, who I've done interviews with, were there, and it was just a different experience. We see them up close and personal. My first time seeing bodybuilders was back in 2021 when I went to an event. I know a guy named Glenn. He runs his own magazine. He was debuted his magazine. I met a couple ladies who I became friends with through social media. And there's a different experience when you get to meet them up close and personal compared to when you see them in a magazine or you see them online or we watch a live stream show. You know, this is the thing about bodybuilding. It's just even though it's a very niche sport, it's kind of spread over worldwide. I've interviewed ladies from far as Australia to Great Britain. One lady who's from Singapore, she's a physique pro, and when in other ladies, other countries such as Mexico and Brazil. I mean, this is a sport that really, especially the Italian Brazilian, it hits worldwide.
It is, yes.
Yeah. So, is there anybody particularly that you are a fan of in the sport that you follow and you respect their work commitment, other than Dr. Natalia Rio?
Um, Not anyone in particular because I like to try to create my own image and not really copy. Um, there's a number of pros that I have admired over the years. Um, I can't think of some of their names, but there's a lot of them that I have met even recently, and they're great people.
Yeah, I think from my experience, I met quite a few. One lady who I'm a fan of, and I often refer like this. She's my girlfriend, and that is Andrea Shaw. I think she's just amazing. She's just beautiful, great physique, great personality. She really represents herself in a division. I've interviewed quite a few ladies who have known her and met her. I mean, one of these days, I got to meet her. I would love to meet her one of these days, but I don't know. I might act like I know I'm going to act a fool if I do because I think she's just amazing. I'm a big fan of her. A while back, a friend of mine, she was at an event. Actually, it was the Olympia back in 2023. And her name is Eunice. Eunice runs her own company called Bad Rap. This is the moniker, and the hat is the moniker is big and defined, ripped and pumped. We like the rip part, us guys. And she got me this issue of muscle development. I still got some issues back in the day I used to collect as a kid. And this is an issue with Andrea on the cover. And what makes so great about this issue is that she saw her and she asked her to do me a favor, and she autographed this issue for me. And it is something. I love it and hug it and call it George. And the opportunity to talk to some ladies. I've met some ladies like during my time, like a while back when I was in Tampa. I got to meet Sharonka Hinton. She was one point she was number three in the world. And I know you Sharonka very well because I know you met her. Also,
I
I
did
got
meet.
to yeah,
Yes.
I got to meet Ashley Jones, who's also right now sitting as number three in women's bodybuilding in the world. And that is a great opportunity. I'm a big fan of Ashley. And also, I got to meet a gentleman when, y'all will recognize the gentleman if you see him. You know who he is. He's between me and my friend Eunice. And I would have never met him in my country life if I didn't go to Tampa. And this is the legendary. It should pop up in a second. The computer's acting funny today. I just clicked it. Here he is. Give me a second. I don't know why. Come on, you son of a technology. It was fine a few minutes ago. Here we go. Where he is.
Oh,
There he is. Yes. You recognize that man in the middle of us?
I don't know who that is.
I'll give you one hint. Not Van Hagar. Van.
Halen.
Oh,
That is, and who was the first lead singer of Van Halen?
Not sure.
David Lee Roth.
oh,
Okay.
God, you felt like when I told my sister about that, she said, "Oh, okay." For me, I don't know. I grew up in the '80s. I remember watching his videos and stuff, and and it just was a exciting moment because he was there. He's a big bodybuilding fan for a long time. So, Mr. Terry, when did y'all two meet, and what was that experience like when you met this lovely lady?
We met in the gym, of course. I it's
that's
been I
funny.
think around 2018 or 2019, and I admire
I was prepping
women
for a show.
bodybuilders, and she was prepping for a show, and I will, I'm pretty outgoing, and so I went up to her and just to congratulate her on. I know all the hard work it takes to get in that condition that she was in, and prepping for a show. She was
On the Stairmaster.
just a few weeks out, and so I just went up to congratulate her, let her know, hey, I know what it takes to, to be physically uh, the way you are today. And right away, she was just like, never slowed down on the stairmaster. She's like, I'm not interested in dating anybody, and I'm like, I'm really not interested in dating you. I just came up here to compliment you. I've seen you come in and out of the gym. I've seen you working out, and you're a tick higher than anyone else in here.
I was
And
focused.
yep, always. She's always focused. I mean, even to this day, somebody can pass right by her and say something to her, and
I'll
I'm
be
like,
what?
she's not going to answer you until she's through with that set. So, but that's where we met in the gym, and then it kind of just progressed from there as friends. I helped her out a lot as much as I could with her music selection, trying to choreograph her routine to the music and
And meal preps.
meal preps. Oh yeah, there's no hey sweetie, you want to go out and have a steak or something tonight, or you want to go have some pizza? No, I will go out, but you can eat pizza and I'll eat my meal prep. So, but that's what it takes. It takes the dedication and the consistency to be in the gym if you want to compete. I mean, if you just want to enter a show, go in the gym, work out a little bit, take a couple selfies in the mirror, like, hey, I think I can enter a show. But we're in it to win
Yeah,
it.
exactly. And he
That-
puts up with a lot.
We got you because you're a woman, so it's just like putting up with a woman. Like I had a woman. She was my mom. She was my number one woman. I miss her. She was the one I took care of her for a good while, and she took care of me, and that's good. That's good, especially people got to understand that bodybuilding is not, as most people think, it's a solo sport. It is kind of a team because it does take a lot of people involved with it, from training to dieting. And also it's good to have somebody in your relationship that shares your passion, not so much as the bodybuilding part, but the fitness part of it. I mean, when you look at from the outside looking in, most people, when you think about bodybuilding, it's just these big, huge guys that look like Arnold, and they take steroids and and just yoked out, and but there's more to it. The dieting, the consistency, the persistence, the discipline, not so much motivation. Understanding the factors that are involved in it, from growth to rest to recovery. It's not as simple as most people think it is. It takes a lot of time, especially when you're a most mature person. Being you're 60, I wouldn't believe it. He's,
Different.
yeah, gave you time. It's one thing like one lady I also got to meet at Tampa. Her name is Paula Ranta. She's 26 years old, amazing competitor. She's really growing, but the thing is, she's 26. It's one thing when you remember when you were 26. You remember when you were 26, Mr. Terry, when you're young and spry, you can run all night, run all day. You got the girls going, woo, But then when you hit to this point in your life where what, I get up in the morning, I feel like everything is creaking and cracking.
Right. That's me. I mean, I have joint issues from doing dumb things when I was younger, but they haven't slowed me down. I still train hard as I can, come home and suffer afterwards on my show. I mean, she'll tell you I'm always complaining about my shoulder issues and, back or whatever the case may be, but it doesn't stop me. And back to the couples thing, it's very difficult for just a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, if both parties aren't totally dedicated to, if their girlfriend or if their boyfriend, the other one has to be involved, just as involved, and support that person. If you're not there to support and be part of it, most of the times that relationship won't work, because it's not a normal, hey, we're going to have a date night. We're going to go out to the movies. It's very structured. And like you said, it starts in the kitchen.
And
with your
he's
meal
he's
plan.
not really on a plan, a diet plan of any kind.
I'm not.
And he eats other stuff that's not things I can have. And so it's hard sometimes
It
for
makes
me.
it difficult for her if I'm there eating something that she would like to have, but can't eat because of her training. Then, I try to refrain from doing that in front of her very often because I know it's hard
He'll
to.
sit and hide
It's hard to
things.
resist it, because you can smell it or whatever. If I'm eating chocolate, it's like
I'll be like,
are you eating chocolate?
those
But I normally
M&Ms?
hide it, try to pop in a couple of chocolates or whatever when she's not looking. But it's very difficult as a couple in
It is.
bodybuilding if both aren't supportive of each other. But
Yeah, because that's what it is. Because you know what you have to say about I've done interviews with ladies that told me when they started getting the bodybuilding, especially they were married for a long time, and then the kids got older, and then life started changing. They wanted something to give them purpose, and then the husband didn't feel comfortable with them changing aspects of what they made him was as a woman. A couple of ladies told me they have gotten divorced, they broke up because as men we don't like change too much. We like things to stay same, but women, you always going to change. You're going to get older. You're going to change this. You're not going to, like I've seen your pictures. You were, man, I'm a man. I'm going to make my shame. But I think this is a test of what is truly a relationship, knowing that you're doing something that is very extreme and out of the norm, and have somebody stand by and being passionate just as much as you are.
yeah, very rare. It's very rare to see that.
He preps up all my chickens, and he gets everything grilled up, and he makes sure that we order all the food we need, and he's very supportive. And
Take all of the photos and videos so that we can do comparisons weekly.
yeah,
Without that, you look at yourself in the mirror. I mean, like her, she looks every day in the mirror and probably doesn't notice the subtle changes. But if it's on video or on a photo, you can compare. Hey, this is what it was this week. This is where you're at now, and it really helps for you to self evaluate.
because when you're obsessed with making the changes you need, you look all the time, and then you don't see anything changing, and you don't realize it did change, or it changed a little, and then it's this slow, gradual change. Especially in the '60s, when you're in your '50s, when I really got serious, that was easy. But
And women struggle because they go through the menopause thing that men don't go through,
mhm.
and that menopause really trying to balance that out of what it does to female bodies and
Man,
your estrogen level. There's so many things that changes that can
Your skin.
interrupt or slow down your growth. So it's an ongoing battle the older you get, but we've been able to work through it, and she's done fabulous.
Yeah. See, the thing of like it goes back to one of my favorite movies. It's an Arnold movie, Arnold Conan Barbarian, where he says, like when he asks him, says, Conan, what is important in life? He says, to crush your enemies, seem to do it for you, and here's the lamentation of the women. And that's the thing of men. We are builders, we are warriors, we are baby makers, but the women carry the babies. That's your thing. We nah. Yeah, we couldn't do it. But that's the thing about a woman. It's so many the chemical balances that separate. Like when I do content so much on this, where I have people, ladies I've known tell me how they will get approached or have people on the social media saying like, she's trying to be a man. They got all these muscles. Well, why not you? I'm a man. I don't got muscles. I got probably titties bigger than some women who are bodybuilders. But it goes back to the dedication. And if you're a man who's not comfortable with it, because this wife's a lovely lady, she works out, they work out together. If you're a man who's not comfortable with it, that's on you. So, folks, what we're going to do is this: we're going to jump into Maria's social media for a bit. You're going to follow her. You want to check out her journey as a bodybuilder. You can follow links in the description of this live. If interested in supporting her in her upcoming competitions and whatever she do as in the sport, reach out and genuine interest. But guys, and this is no offense to you, Mr. Terry or Maria. I say this because there's guys out there. And some guys can be nice, and some guys not be nice. And some guys can be really weird. So if you do support her, follow her, do not send her some weird shit. No D-pics, no nothing, no anything. Mr. Terry, I know Mr. Terry's an older gentleman, but his feet is not cold. So I don't want to hear somebody, Miss Terry open the house and be like, and say that, we'll see this shit to my wife. So folks, be genuine, be supportive, don't be weird, and be respectful. So we're going to jump into social media for a bit. If you want one, the links are in the description of this live. So here she is. And look very impressive here. Some of your training here. This is from, I think, this is when you're still doing some figure posing. And what was the big reason, other than just the fact of getting off the high heels, that you want to step away from figure?
He asked you a question.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
What was other than that? What did you like for figure when you first started? What you liked about the division instead of the high heels?
What did I like about figure? I guess I really like the lat spread and the fact that your lower body is to be slimmer in the hips and then your lats are larger. So I like that V shape.
And if I could add something, it kind of introduces a little bit of more of a femininity
Feminine, yeah.
inside of her versus
Yeah,
when you're in bodybuilding, it's more like a real aggressive,
masculine.
that muscular
Yeah,
look. So it that's kind of one of the other reasons I think she got into it is the still wants the people to know that she is a female.
because I am a woman. I like to be feminine, but I do like that, very large muscle look as well. So it's I'm trying to keep both, I guess.
Yeah, it's a balance, to be both, present masculinity, and muscularity with a bit of femininity. From some of these pictures, I say she looks really good. I mean, really impressive. It's a work. Now, I heard your last interview that you don't have a coach right now.
I do not. I've never had one. In the 2017, 2019 era, I self prepped, self coached. I could not afford it. I was, single, and now I can't really afford too much because I'm retired and we're trying to watch our money. In fact, we just canceled our cruise so that I can enter these competitions because the financing of suits and entry fees and everything is pretty high. So yeah, financing is tough. So I do think that if I, well, not if, I know I'm going to get my pro card. So I probably will need to invest in someone to help me bring me over the finish line. But I'm very educated. I am certified. I do know what I'm doing to an extent, but there are things that, just little things that I probably need a little push with, a little help with. So that may happen, getting a coach.
Yeah, because one thing is, especially as an amateur, it does take time, and especially your experience, it does. That's good because I know a few ladies who have worked without a coach, but then when you hit that level in the IV, it's stepping up. Even at your age, you still have to step up because Masters has really picked up. Next year is going to be the return of the Masters Olympia. I don't know when they're going to have it at. You have to be 40 plus to qualify for the Masters, but any competitor can compete in the 40 class. I've seen ladies who are in their 50s look just as good as ladies in their 40s. Here she's got a picture here. She gets a nice set of glutes. Excuse me, Mr. Terry. I can't help myself.
No problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, she does. She does.
yeah. And let's do some glute training. I got, what? I think I sent you a video. It's of Jake Cutler, where he talks about what he used for his glute training.
I'm a
You know,
fan of Jake.
yeah.
Yeah.
I want to tell you a story. It's a story told to me by a friend of mine. He told me a story a long time ago about Jake. How one time, a lot of guys, for them to make some money, they have to do some stuff on the side. You heard about the story about Kai Green and grapefruit. Well, Jay did this. He used to work out and train. So what he used to do, he used to sell his old shirts and his training gear to other guys. One time he was so busy he forgot to put his stuff together. So what he did, he took a shirt and sprayed it down with water. It was told to me by a friend, I'm just, and when the guy got it, he sent it back with a note saying it did not smell like you. So what the guy did was, what Jay did was every time he trained, he always wore a couple extra shirts just in case. So, and who's these people with you?
Oh, that's Jen Sweeney and Berlin. What was his last name?
I don't remember his last name.
I just met them in my gym.
They're a couple IFBB pros.
Yes, they are
Yeah,
very people I've admired actually. Super
yeah,
nice. Gave me some tips. I was so excited to meet them.
yeah. Her Miss Sweet. She was a pro bodybuilder. Her husband also compete. I believe they used to promote a show. I think they no, it's somebody else that promoted the show in Tupelo. That was another couple. But yeah, I heard Miss Sweeney. Actually, I think I saw her one time. She was in Savannah because her and her husband had a client that was competing that year. And here, that's a dog. What? I think is that one of those Great Danes? Shoot,
Great thing.
He's huge.
that's a horse. What y'all feed him? The house and a horse and a cow and moo moo. What's his name?
His name is Samson. He's our alarm system.
Yeah, that's a. I think I'll be careful when I get in the house to visit you when Samson's around. But also this is a show you're planning on doing. That is the Thai Pope Classic. That's in this coming this summer. Wow, summer's just around the corner. Can you believe it? And that's a very popular show, especially in Florida.
Well, I was actually prepping for a different show, but I just felt like, well, let's just jump in this one. And I like the Popes and I've known them for years. And so I'm like, well, let me just do this one too. So I jumped in it. So here we are. We're going to start with that one. Hopefully I will be ready because I was really prepping for 11 weeks out instead of 7 weeks. So now I got just 7 weeks left.
Well, it's the thing is, it's I think can you believe it? July just around the corner because once this week is over, it's going to be June, and then wow, it just seemed like you just started 2026 and we're almost halfway in. Time does fly. It seems like when we get older, time flies faster. When we were young little kids, it seemed like Christmas took forever. Birthdays seem like it's like a year away, no more 2 years away. But now, Christmas comes every other day, and birthday's just around the corner. So and
Yes, if you're prepping for a show, you got so many weeks out, and it seems like those weeks go so quickly. It's like, oh wow, it's 4 weeks. So now it's 2 weeks. So you're right, time flies.
yeah.
And
I
I'm
think
doing
about
this prep differently than I have ever done, especially since I'm trying to hang on to the size. And that I think that's part of the problem as to why I dropped figure. I've been trying to shrink to fit into the division. I don't want to shrink anymore. I want to let my muscles grow and be what they want to be without starving and coming in depleted and flat and just stringy. I want to be full and muscular. So let's just drop figure, go into bodybuilding and physique, and let the muscles be what they want to be. So
yeah,
I eat a lot right now, right?
You do, you do. And one of the most other important parts of her life, I don't know if she shared it with you or she wants to, but if you look at some of her previous bodybuilding competitions, you'll see that her implants were very prominent. And about 15 months ago, she had those implants removed.
Yes.
So I don't know if the folks out there understand how much that involves as far as surgery to remove them and also to do a lift, which you have to remove some tissue. So she's basically cut her chest up a lot.
Here.
So just the fact
Here.
that
The whole
15
thing
months ago, she was
cut up.
laid up, not able to do nothing for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And then go from that to where her transformation with her body is now. Her hair's cut differently from when she competed before. So it's just like a total body transformation from what she used to compete at years ago into what we're trying to present her now and going forward.
And the diet and the fitness and everything
Absolutely.
with the weights, lifting the weights and working out the chest before I was even really fully healed, I believe helped the healing process. I mean, it just really healed everything.
The implants have now been replaced
Yeah.
with muscle in her chest. Amazing.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. There's no implants. That's pure muscle, folks. Most women, your boobs are consistent of fat. And
Yeah.
and with her meal plan and training, that's pretty much gone now. I mean, yeah, of course she's smaller up
He
top,
loves it.
but I love it. She loves it. And now we're replacing it with muscle. So just want that little bit of transformation and progress that she's made in that short period of time.
I'm definitely going to be bringing completely different package to the stage than the 2017-19 version of the modeling. That's like dead. This is going to be a new Marie, a new look, and hopefully a more professional, more pro look is what I'm after.
Honestly, I prefer women with natural pecs. I think depending on how they are implanted, sometimes the breast implants can take away the aesthetics of the physique. One lady I got to meet while I was in Tampa is Isabel Terrell, who competed back in the day, and she's very well developed. But before then, she had implants, but she had a great physique. But she don't compete anymore. But she still, um, I think, um, I think it makes that great natural aesthetic. And I've talked about there's some ladies who have got them before, but either because of medical issues, because of issues with breast implants that can affect you because there's a lot of stuff whatever it's a terminology called breast implant toxicity, where the implants, especially if they're silicone or maybe just because the body may not be
Body's trying to reject it.
yeah, to the fact of something, a foreign body inside of it, like you
Absolutely.
know. But some of the ladies, like people like Ashley, Andrea, a couple of ladies, can't forget Sharonica. They don't have them. They have great physiques. One lady who I'm a fan of, and I did a comparison with her, is Angela Yo, and this is her alongside Natalia. And if you look at them in somewhat ways, you can see where it's such a close line between women's physique and women's bodybuilding. The poses are just different, but I think with Natalia, she has that smaller waist. Angela, she has that crazy condition. It's a thin line, between the
It,
divisions
It
over
is.
absolutely
time.
agree. Yeah.
Mhm.
Just a few different poses from physique to bodybuilding, but it is a thin line.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, and talk about figure, how the girls in figure, you have that how one lady explained to me that upside down Dorito shapes, the broad shoulders, and the small and tapering waist. They want the quads with a nice flare, But there's women right now sitting in figure that could move up to with physique because it's like again goes back that every division change over time. Like when women bodybuilding started out, you have people like Linda Murray, you had Beth Francis, one lady who kind of changed the blueprint of the sport of bodybuilding. Um, you know, Iris Kyle, who I'm a fan of. I mean, she came in, and Andrea and so many others. I mean, each division has certain people that come into it. Especially look at men's bodybuilding, like guys like Nick Walker, Andrew Jack. One person I got to meet when I was in Tampa also, Derek Rumford. I realized that guy was that short. I think I'm 5'7". He got to be like 5'6". So it's one thing when you meet these people in person.
Yes. Yeah, and you were talking earlier about Jay Cutler. Him and Ronnie Coleman. They competed. One right after Ronnie would win, Jay would win, but that's old school. I mean, that's before your time as far as competitive bodybuilding. But they're old school. I mean,
Yeah.
we remember when we first started out. You go to the gym, there was no AC. I mean, you had
Right.
open windows. You sweat. I mean, that's what you do.
Yeah.
I make comments to
No
people all the
AC.
time in the gym. You're not sweating, you're not working out.
Right.
But now it's got to, to satisfy
Got to have TVs.
the new
Yeah.
wave of people that are competing now.
Cell
You
phones.
got to have TV and air conditioning, and
Yeah.
they're on they're on the equipment with their cell phone.
And they have to wipe
you do
everything down.
15
Yeah.
seconds of equipment training, and then you spend 2, 3, 4 minutes on the phone. I don't know, looking at social media. I don't really understand it. I don't believe in it. If you want to do that, go somewhere to a gym that just has a phone.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
They should have a place where
They need to have a gym with just a
sit on your
phone,
phones.
so you can sit up on the second floor, play with your phone, and look at the people that down there are training. But it's just a different clientele of people now training than what it used to be back a few years ago.
I mean, you dropped weights, you made noise, there were bigger men. Now it's just
You still get the dropping of weights, but it's more like, look at me, look at me. I'm going to do bang, look at me.
Yeah, they did.
Wow, I got 400 pounds on my bench bar, but I can only do maybe a half or one rep. I mean, really? What are you trying to accomplish other than an ego trip?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, when my brother was, he used to play football here in hometown. He was pretty good. He went to college for a bit, and we were poor country kids. We had cinder blocks and logs, and we used to work out with that. And then when I got into high school and I started playing football when I was younger, we had a room. We had heavy iron weights. We had a fan, that big, kind of big
Yeah.
fan that blowed. And
Uh,
by the time I was 16, I was already doing 350 on a bench press. And I was doing 550 because I was a country boy. We grew up, country, and
Absolutely.
I was strong. I remember, this is a true story. It's no offense to you, Miss Maria. This is between Mr. You remember? You ever heard of the terminology "cock strong," Mr. Terry?
I haven't, but I kind of get where the gist of it.
Yeah, because that's what somebody told me one time. I said, "George, boy, you cock strong." I said, "What do you mean, I asked him, I said, "What do you mean? So you ever had any?" He said, "No, I never had any." He said, "No, then you cock strong, son." But yeah, because the thing is, every generation change. It changes from, you go back to guys like Arnold and Franco Colombo, Frank Zane, to Lita Brada, to somebody Newts, to Ronnie and Jay, Dorian Yates, to guys like Chris Bumstead,
Reeves.
very popular. Steve Reeves. Yes, Hercules. Can't forget
Oh,
Hercules. Yeah,
yeah.
even
Yeah.
this is one thing. Sean Connery, James Bond was a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
I found this about, was it a couple years when he died? They talk about, we say, well, you talk about history. Say, the man said, like, "I like my martini shaken, not stirred," and I'm surprised, because it's a very, because I think when people look at the extreme of it, back in the day, I used to remember Bobby used to come on television. You catch on ESPN, NBC News, used to be on, but now, you can only catch it on maybe live stream or on. I do YouTube a lot because that's where my home at on social media. Because it goes back to the issue of performance enhancing uses. But again, almost every sport used it. You remember the whole thing with A Rod and Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire and them, and then the Olympic competitors like Ben Johnson and Marion Jones and fighters have used it. I used to do interviews and content on women in mixed martial arts and boxing. Now, there was one lady, she's a fighter, her name is Talia Santos, where she talked about, her husband was bodybuilding, but she used his steroids by accident. She got suspended. You can tell the difference between a birth control and steroids, even though birth control do have a little bit of steroid in it, but it's a different level between antibiotic and to whichever steroids used for that medication.
Absolutely. It just provides, in any competitive sport, like you said, I don't care what it is, there's always that person that wants to have a little bit of an advantage. So you seek out the products or whatever that they may be providing that will give you just that extra edge over someone else, because again, you're looking to win this. You're not just being in the competition just to be in it. You're
Just
in
to
it to
say
win it.
I'm doing it over
And
60. That's not it.
there's so much of drug abuse now.
There
We've
is.
we're both up in age, and we've seen people at a very young age not here anymore because they abuse it.
They abuse
Um,
it. Yeah.
It's almost like
And I'm
you're
close to natural.
not wanting to work for it anymore. You have to work for the body and do it a proper way to try to do it in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And not just do some drugs and get out and lift some weights and try to. It's like, I want it now. It's like a vending machine. You want a Snickers bar, you want a Coke. Push the button. I want it now. I don't want to wait for it. And a lot of these physiques require a lot of time to build it that way.
And I think the misconception also is that if you're doing drugs, then that's all that you did to get the muscle that you have.
Yeah.
That is false. Completely and utterly false. You can take all the drugs you want, but if you don't put the work in, those drugs are not going to work.
If you don't put the work in the kitchen and in the gym,
Yeah.
you can waste your money on drugs, and it's not a miracle drug.
Exactly. Yeah. And
It won't put it on you
20,
artificially.
in 2017, 18, and 19, I didn't know, hardly, well, I did at the end of the last show, I did start testosterone, but only because I was starting menopause in my 50s, and I had to have supplements to help. I had to have the estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone
The
to
hormone
balance
replacement
me out.
therapy.
HRT. And then I continued on. Well, I grew all the way to 165 pounds, got really heavy and fat, out of shape. I was doing the same HRT that I'm doing now. I was doing then, but I wasn't in the gym, wasn't eating right. So that's proof that it doesn't matter if you're taking anything if you're not putting the work in. And right now, I'm not taking anything except HRT. So I'm coming on stage almost natural.
Yeah, because I know quite a few people I know told me say George, if they don't follow the same plan, regimen, consistency, and workout plans I do, they're not going to look like what I look like. They're going to look like shit. You just take a pop a pill or shoot something up. But if you're not training, you're not sticking to a diet. Someone said this: building the body is going to be 60% in the kitchen and 40% in the gym. And that's the thing is, diet is very important, especially as I'm a fat man. I like food. Share it me. As my other half would say, share it me. What's that thing that you desire, especially on prep? That thing that be calling you. That thing that's it's just something that you desire the most when you're in the kitchen. When you can eat anything you want, but for you, Maria, you have to be very particular about what you digest.
So true. So true.
So, what's your favorite food if you ever get a chance to, especially when you get after that last show, when you get to say, you know what, I'm gonna wow, I'm gonna pig out.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a cream filled donut,
Ooh, cream
something
filled.
crispy and all that. But I have to say, over the years that I've been doing this, I've kind of gotten out of that. I've got to have the sugar, and I actually crave healthier foods. And so this isn't really that hard like it was back in 2018 or 19. It's a lot easier. I feel like when this is over, I'm going to be able to keep up eating the right way because I'm eating enough food now. I'm not starving. I'm not depleting. I'm not losing my hair because I'm not eating wrong. I'm not over drugged. I'm not none of that. So this is very sustainable, and that's kind of the goal is to not go into this competition shredded and then come out blowing up. I want to
Yeah,
be able to live and look decent. I don't want to blow up.
yeah. And what's that like, especially because again, bodybuilding, street sport, like your family, like do you like brothers and sisters, kids, anything, what they think about what y'all do?
That's interesting you say that. I'm an only child. My
I
mother,
hate you.
my
I got,
mother,
I got. There was like at least altogether like nine of us, so I was never only.
9.
Wow.
Well, actually, I break it like this. My mother and father had six together. Would have been seven, but we had a child lost. My father had a son before he married my mother. I have an older brother. I have a younger sister after they broke up. And there was living at one point eight of us, but I lost my older brother James. He's been gone for almost 23 years. My sister Mary, she's been gone about 10. And I'm like the second youngest son. I have a younger brother, and and we grew up together. I even have nieces and nephews. We're close in age because I got two nephews where we grew up together like brothers. I never had that pleasure of only child. And here she is, and I think this is your mother, is if I'm right. You know,
that's my sweet mother. She
there's old terminology, man. You just as pretty as your mama. So
she's alone and she lives down in Polk County, and I don't get to see her that often. She's not real nuts with any of this. She never has been. She just kind of goes, oh, okay. It's just not her thing. She thinks that muscular women are kind of gross, but it's okay. She comes from a different generation. I just kind of just gotta let it go. She doesn't get the professional side of it, but but she loves me and I love her, and it is what it is, right, honey?
It is what it is. Sweet lady. They look so much alike in the face. There's no absolutely doubt about if that's her daughter or not. They're so similar, their looks. But sweet lady, and I'm sure in her own way she supports her daughter for what she does. Got to
Yeah.
be proud of her for all of her accomplishments in life, and even where she's at today.
And when I reach my goals, I think she'll finally see that it's a very respectable, wonderful goal to have. And when I get the pro card, I'm sure she'll be proud,
I would
right?
do anything.
Absolutely.
One thing I would say is this: my mother, she again she had to raise us by herself. My parents were together for 55 years. They were still legally married, but he was living in New Jersey. We were sitting in North Carolina, and she one thing she had to do, she had to raise three daughters, three sons, and pretty much two grandkids. And she taught me what I need to learn as an adult. I learned from what I need to know as a man from my older brothers, my grandfather, my uncles, and the men I grew up around. And for us, Mr. Carey, you agree with us. As us boys, our mother is the woman that we truly love. She really, I miss my mother. It's been going to be 6 years this coming end of June when she passed, and she went through a lot. I was there beside her, and it was tough to see somebody as they used to be strong and independent. My mother taught me one thing also was a hustle, to go out there, to work, do what you need to do. Because at one point, by the time I was 16 years old, I was holding out two jobs. I was working the fields with my parents, because they were sharecroppers, and then I was working at a gas station. I worked at a textile plant by the time I was in my 20s, and then I was working in a children's club. You know, you know. I know people say like, man, you went to strip club, man. No, dude, it's not always sunshines and rainbows. And that's the thing is, we we most everybody, we have to support a family and friends, because you know what, this is a tough sport. It's just, again, it goes back to the fact it's not really so much on stage you're on alone, but it does take a team to help you build your muscle and to grow, to develop, because it can be a sport that's mentally, physically, emotionally, and goes back to one thing, financially draining. Because I say this, for you women, show day is when your biggest expense, because you have to get your hair, your makeup done. You have to look very pretty, very appealing, tanning, this and that. For guys, all you gotta do is slap on some tan, a banana hammock, and a pair of board shorts.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
true.
But he's been very good financially, helping to support this.
100%. Any relationship, you both parties put in, 100%. It's not 50 on her side, 50 on my side. It's 100% both sides. And, you know, I know this is not popular probably with social media, a lot of people, but we both thank God for being able to do what we do. If it wasn't for him, um, he has provided us financially, um,
To be able
the
to do
physical
this. Yeah.
ability
We
to
give
be able
all
to
the
do what we
glory to
do.
him.
Yeah, it's not, we're not going to take the credit away from him.
Right. It belongs to the Lord, and he's giving us financial blessings to be able to do this sport again, and I have to honor him for that.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not very religious, but I do have faith. I do believe, like my mom told me, say God will make a way. If you believe, He will make a way, because He doesn't give us humans the intelligence and the ability to do what we do without understanding that here's one thing: we're not a perfect creature. We're going to falter. We're going to have to make mistakes, bad choices. But that's what about life. We learn from that, especially when we're younger. We learn from those experiences, which help us mold us as better people. As long as you have, there'll be days where you feel like, I can't do it, but then you feel like it's a shoulder in your, it's an arm, somebody has a hand on your shoulder. If it's an angel, if it's God, it's somebody. There's things that happen in my life. You know what? By miracle. Because sometimes, there's a couple times I should have died. This is a true story about me. Was it back in 2014? I was not even 40 yet. Had my first heart attack at 39. I was working at a textile plant. It was a meat packing place. I was working in cold storage. I thought I had a flu. So I go and tell my supervisor I'm not feeling well. I'm going to head out. My two of my sisters lived in the next town over. I would have gone too far to go back home. So my sister, she told me, go get yourself checked out. So okay, there's a place around the corner we're going to check out. It said, Miss MacArthur, there's something funny in your blood, so we're going to send you to Cape Fear Valley. It's one of the biggest hospitals in North Carolina, in Fayetteville. I was there, and then the doctor told me, said, Miss MacArthur, you had a heart attack. I said, what? I thought I had like you think you have a heart attack, be like, oh, come join you, Elizabeth. I thought we that, but he told me that I was in cardiac unit for about a week. We'll see the specialist, and then he said because of my fracture was very low, I had to get a pacemaker. Had it for 12 years, and I learned from that. Sometimes it took me a while because a lot of mistakes I made. I mean, I should have ate a little bit, a little healthier. I'm from the country. We eat, we can eat, and work late nights sometimes and fast food. Like I used to run with strip club, go to the Waffle House because hey, I like to eat the waffles because it was a long night at the club. I want something before I go to bed. You know, but it's good that at one point I was even at 500 pounds.
Wow.
And I'm right now at 416, and because I was taking my mom, and that's a stress. We take care of somebody who's going through what she was going through, and finding this content. Because I was like, a friend told me, because what you like to talk about. I said, I like to talk about women muscles because I haven't met my crime. I'm a muscle personality. I ladies excite me. But when doing this content, I get to learn, and then I use from one of my experience from what some ladies who have one point was overweight and they got to it and they found the sport. I use some of that to help me in my process. But that's the thing about bodybuilding. It's a sport where there are some pros and cons to it, just like anything.
Absolutely. A lot more pros and cons.
A lot more pros.
It's
Yeah.
just, how important is it to your life to be as fit as you can be, and hopefully you'll live a little bit longer. I hope we've got another 50 years together, but you just have to be realistic and do all that you can do to maintain your lifestyle and try to better it. And I think that Marie, with her bodybuilding career, is on the right path. She's got genetics. Genetics play a big part in bodybuilding, and she's got the genetics, her stature.
I don't feel 60 at all.
Everything is on her side, and it's just again, there is nothing else that we can do when she steps on that stage.
Oh,
She can't hold her head down and think that she's lost anything. We have given it absolutely every effort in every way to get up there and present like, here you go, folks. This is the best I've got right here.
Yeah.
Can she be better? Possibly, but we have done 1,000% to get her on that stage and to win.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing you forgot, Mr. Chairman, is she's real party too. She is a pretty woman, Mr. Terry. I feel you don't want to feel stepping on your feet, sir. I just want to let you know that.
Not at all.
And I'm deaf. And
yeah, she was born with a hearing impairment. Not just that, but she was also has currently blind in her left eye.
This side.
So she can't hear, and she's only got one eye.
Yeah.
That she can see out of.
Well,
and it's gotten her down. It hasn't gotten her down. She still excels
still got this
in
eye.
this sport.
But
she has the physical disabilities.
Well, there's two bodybuilders who were deaf. Well, Lou Ferrigno, he was I think partially deaf.
Yeah.
The late Sheedy Beatty, who used to be American Gladiator, when she was competing, she was also partially deaf.
Right.
I think they do also in some organizations do some handicap bodybuilding. You have a wheelchair. You have some people. There's one guy who I follow. He has it's a multiple sclerosis or not multiple sclerosis. It's one of them where he's like he's kind of distorted.
I know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. I mean, because I think if it's just that one little problem, it's just we can go over it. I'm right now. I'm not putting my life. I'm not blind. I'm getting a little bit. I have to wear these now a little more. My hearing's pretty good, but I do have issues. Like I got two bad knees, like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because of years and this weight put it on it. And, it's just one of those things that you can get over. Over time. Like especially when training. Like what's your day like when you get in the gym? What's training like during the week?
I switched it up. I mean, being self-coached, I started out training a certain way to lose the poundage. Initially, I was a Stairmaster Queen, low carbohydrates. It's a typical old style, bikini style dieting, starvation, low carbs and low calories, calorie deficit, and just get the poundage off. And so I sat in that for, I don't know, maybe 8 months, and I got the majority of the weight off. And then, because I knew I wanted to come back into bodybuilding, I just had a lot of work to do. So then at that point, I could see more of what was underneath and what I needed to do, muscularity. So I come in after that poundage was down, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you don't have enough muscle here. You don't have this. Shoulders are low, this, that. So then I had to create a plan in order to start building up the areas that the judges want. And then that's when I changed it to focus on that. So I go to the gym and I focus on those. I'm currently training glutes and legs 3 times a week. where I've never done that ever. But that's my area of concern. And
And
it's a big concern.
and it basically consumes the whole day. I mean, we start out in the morning.
Mhm.
All of her meals are planned out. It's not like, okay, I'm going to eat breakfast at 8 and tomorrow I'm
then
going to eat
record it.
8,
No.
breakfast at 9. Everything
It's
is
weighed.
planned out.
It's weighed.
She eats her meals at a certain time of the day. Um, at her last meal, which consists of a little bit of carbs, we go to the gym. We typically spend, I would
4
say,
hours.
4 hours in the gym every day, and then we come home. We have to be home within a certain time after we stop our training because again, it fits into that scheduled
Got to get the
meal.
food in after the
So
workout. You got to watch the clock.
got to watch the clock. Then you have to build in. You have to have a certain amount of sleep. Sleep's very important in this sport. So it consumes the whole day. The whole day is consumed by it. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle.
It's an obsession.
Yeah, because you know what? That's the big part of the consistency part of bodybuilding, because you have to stick to it. Like even you have to eat the same thing day after day, because that's a big part about bodybuilding. It can be boring,
Right.
and also again it goes back in the day people think that you just need to eat like a bird, but you have to eat like pretty much like a monster. You have to eat mass quantities,
Right.
to put on the size you want. It's one thing, but look at girls' bikini now. Those girls are not as lean. They're conditioned. I've heard even they use things like Anavar tests or whatever, performance enhancer. It's like anything. If you follow the plan, stay consistent, you can pretty good. But often my other guy says that I don't have a plan. I'm just a dog chasing cars. I want to know what to do when I get one. And what's between the both of you? What's your most favorite workout? And that when you get into gym, he says, "Shit, here we go again. I don't want to do this."
I don't like squats. I hate doing squats, but I'm not good at them. I don't. I'm pretty much a heavy lifter. I lift more weight than some majority of the men in the gym. Sometimes even more weight than my husband. But when it comes to squats, I'm not lifting very heavy, and I do have an S joint issue, so I have to be careful. So I don't like doing a lot of legs, and that's probably why I have a lower body conditioning issues. So that's my negative. My favorite is probably back.
Back.
I love back.
Definitely back. Yeah, I'm just on the flip side of her. My upper body I've always been big in upper body. When I was younger, I did competitive water skiing. So there's a lot of upper body involved in that. And, as time, again, like I told you previously, I've ridden bronking bulls. I've been thrown off, bounced on my shoulder, barefoot water skiing and fall
Climbing
at
poles for a
65
living.
miles an hour and hit the water. It's like hitting concrete. So I've abused my body when I was younger, and now it's showing up.
And he had
So
no legs when
my
I had
upper
him.
body is hurting. So now I've focused on my legs, my lower body, and people say, "Why? Why do you like your legs so much now?" And I'm like, "Because nothing hurts. I can do legs, and
But they're growing.
I feel strong, and nothing hurts when I come home."
Yeah, I know with somebody because leg day is their least favorite. It's like it makes me think of this episode of Chappelle Show where Charlie Murphy talked about the time he met Rick James, and they invited Rick to Eddie's house, and and Rick's on the couch says, "F your couch, Eddie Murphy, F your couch." And leg day is like when Eddie Murphy and Charlie Murphy are beating your legs, and he says, "What are my legs, Eddie Murphy?" And you crawl out of the house. Yeah, I mean, so Mr. Terry had the prison legs where guys in prison be like, yeah, man, I just got out, and be like have little teeny legs because they'll do a lot of squats and all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the
His
Rock
legs
and both.
get bigger now.
Yeah. I focus on legs quite a bit now, and again, like I said, because it doesn't hurt. I mean, I lift heavy,
I'm hard.
and but again, you got to do it smart. You got to do it. I know I'm older.
He got hurt.
Your joints issues. You got to take precautions when you're lifting heavy. Make sure you wrap your knees. Do
no
whatever
ego
you can
lifting.
do to try to avoid injuries.
Yeah,
So that's our key right now. Is you can lift heavy, but you've got to be practical about it also, and not lift so heavy that you can have an injury. Like she's so close to competition date, and it would just completely destroy it if she had an injury at this point.
I'm all beast mode, and he's like, "Come on,
I'm very
be
cautious
careful."
of her. I'm like, Marie, it's heavy. It's heavy. Make sure your arm's right.
So it's like this: you switch roles. She's the man, and you're the woman.
Yeah.
I try to coach her along, and she's like, "Oh, I can do
I got it.
I got it." And I'm like, "Okay." But yeah, so I guess I'm the mom.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt the mom. But yeah, and also with your experience, Ms. Maria, that you have you're a certified personal trainer, and also you do nutrition.
I am, yes, and specialized in bodybuilding. I got the education, and I did work at the gym for a week.
A week.
I just didn't agree with the process.
Would you ever use that to help other people, especially in bodybuilding, you always need people with the expertise you have, and it's also the great way to make a living on the side since you retired. Like, what did you do specifically before you both retired?
Well, I was working as a estimator in cabinetry for builders, where it was big building projects, homes, lots of homes, and I put together financial packages with Excel and tons of numbers, columns and rows, and tons of Excel. I'm very good at Excel, and I worked on those Excel sheets all day long, and I did them for 10, 12 hours a day for many years, and that's kind of how I got out of shape. So that's what I did.
I worked for the power company, kind of following my father's footsteps. He was military, came and did power company line work in the military, and came out, and his career was working for the power company. And so I kind of followed in his footsteps. And one of the keynotes my dad would tell me, he said, "Son, most any job you do, you can make a mistake, but in power work, your first mistake can be your last mistake." So
because it's dangerous.
It's dangerous, but I was, adhere to the safety measures, and again, keep clear head. Don't be drinking overnight and come in and think you're gonna get out and do the work, and something's not gonna. Just takes one mistake and it can be your last. So, but the power company was good to me. I enjoyed it. My dad taught me a lot while I was in it, and I was fortunate enough to be able to retire early and get out of it. And I do security a couple days a week part time now, just to supplement our income. So
I can buy new competition suits.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's one thing. It goes back to expense. Because for y'all ladies, your suits right there, that could be your house note, your mortgage, car note. That's like with gas going now.
Absolutely.
I'm lucky I don't have a car like I used to. I'm you're in Florida, I'm in North Carolina. Our gas is like maybe about $5 some places, but and you go to California out west, it's like $6. I couldn't do it. I remember gas was like maybe $1 or some change back in the day, but now you got to be like oh, we got here guests here. My man KL the Wonder coming through. He says, good morning to you, brother. But now it's a good afternoon. Also, KL says this. Shout out to my man. They put on my old man glasses. He says, I used to do Microsoft Excel on librarian assistant as a librarian assistant. Yeah, congratulations. I used to, one thing, I was going to school, I was studying computers. Also, I PowerPoint, stuff like that, I did that for a good bit, but then I got a job and then I dropped out. My mom should wish I should have stayed in school, but you know what? When you get opportunity to work, you got to work. And to your father, today is Memorial Day weekend coming up. For anybody who serves this country, I don't say thank you for their service. I say this. As a citizen, I appreciate the sacrifice you have made to have this country, because thank you is never enough. Because I had, like I said, my oldest niece and my youngest nephew, they served. They're both in the Army. And I was thinking about joining myself, but then I got a job, for those people that, and then doing that work, working with lines. One day you're like, hey, how you doing? Say, hey, Terry, say, say, yo, man, Terry got fucked up. So, but that's good that you're doing like top flight security. I don't know, Mr. Terry. I'll be like, you'd be like, look at that old man. I think, and boom, 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 boom. Say, what happened to you, boy? I said, Mr. Terry, you fucked me up. Just keep going.
I lift heavy. I try to be just big and intimidating.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really,
For his age, I'm
Yeah.
kind of scared. I mean,